So, some interesting things have been happening in the world recently. I think I'm going to call this Geopolitics and the Low Emission Zone. Guess where we are today? Back at the, Armadillo. We'll not be doing this work for very much longer. Come the 1st of June, my career servicing these venues is over, because I don't have a van that will get me into the town centre. I don't have the money to buy a new van. I was thinking about this. Guys like me, now in the morning sometimes it's easier. I've lived in Glasgow for years, so I know shortcuts. So in the mornings when the M8 motorway, the main arterial route through the city, gets blocked, I know back roads that bring me in through the town. Some of that involves going through what? The low emission zone. I'll not be able to do that anymore. So I'm either going to A, have to go a longer distance, or B, sit in congested traffic. I don't know how that can help the atmosphere. So the fact I'll not be able to drive through the town centre to get to my work, which I don't think I'm going to have any work, I think this one well and truly has stuck it into my backside. I'll have to go around about the city or take longer routes or sit in traffic jams, which isn't really going to help anything. So basically what they've done is moved any horrible dangerous pollution. This van's Euro 5, so it's got a diesel particulate filter. It's not actually that polluting a van. They've moved the more polluting vehicles into the periphery of the city and made them sit for longer in traffic jams and stopped them taking sneaky back roads through the town that have got them to their work, avoiding congestion. So they may or may not have added congestion to the congestion. So what else was I thinking about? Small businesses, people, small traders, they're going to be a bit whacked. City centre, I would say there's a good transport network in Glasgow, but it's expensive. So it's not as if I'll be able to move PA equipment in my van to get into jobs on a bus or anything like that. Right? So this is just fantastic news for a guy like me. Then where did the geopolitics come in? A couple of years back, if you look through my videos, they're not very good. I did a couple on the COP26 stuff that was actually at these venues. They built some massive tented structures behind the complex, walled it all off, right? Everything they used was powered by diesel. The delegates, Joe Biden was one of them. He flew in on Air Force One, the American presidential plane, with two American cargo planes. I believe the motorcade that he drove from Edinburgh to Glasgow in was something like 23, 26 cars. They were all flown in from America. Then they flew Air Force One and the two American military transport airplanes from Edinburgh Airport to Prestwick Airport, a journey of about 100, 150 miles. So we've got people flying in to tell us to reduce our carbon emissions while they're flying about in 747s and C5 Galaxies and all the rest of it. So these people are insane. The people in this city are even more insane for swallowing this stuff or believing it, should I say. Right, so the next part of the geopolitics, I watch too much stuff when I'm out driving about in the van about the war in the Ukraine. Now recently we sent over depleted uranium munitions. The Russian government were absolutely raging about this. If I can find the videos, I'll stick links to them in the description. Over the past week or two, there has been massive explosions in the Ukraine where the Russians have hit weapons depots and blown everything up. Apparently after one of them there was a release of alpha radiation that was pretty strange. So it looks as if the Russians have blown up the depleted uranium munitions that the British government sent to the Ukraine. Now the British government that are telling us they want to hit all these climate and CO2 targets have sent depleted uranium shells into the Ukraine. The Russians have vaporised them. So the soil round about where they things have been blown up is not going to be very much use for very much time. The other one was somebody put an estimate in one of the buildings that they hit that was $500 million worth of damage had been done. That was the amount of weapons that had been blown up in that one storage facility. So while they're telling us to go and get bank loans, ditch your vehicles, this will be off the road in 4 or 5 years anyway. I don't know why they put their boot in my neck to force my hand, either get a new job or buy a new vehicle. Anybody following the videos, I've not been unloading for a while. I've not really been doing anything interesting. My wee mother-in-law, who's now in a nursing home, and she's actually looking a lot better than she was a few weeks ago. First 2 months of this year, I lost a considerable amount of work because we had other priorities in our life. So people that are flying in private jets from America, people that are sending depleted uranium into the Ukraine, are telling us to calm down on our CO2 emissions. I just find the whole thing an absolute joke. Double standards are us. Double standards are I. And there was a guy on Twitter. Twitter's a cesspit, I know it. I shouldn't have followed him. He says he's pro-Scottish independence. And he put up a post saying that the British government should send more weapons into the Ukraine. So the Russians can blow them all up. So that shows you what we're up against. Nurses are on strike, train drivers are on strike, the roads are falling to bits, the fabric of the country is collapsing in front of us. Can anybody work out why a Scottish guy shouldn't be stoking the flames of a war in the Ukraine? What about Faslane and Coolport? Here's another cracker. A couple of days ago, as I say, I might stick some links to the videos in the description below. A couple of days ago, the Russian military took out a Patriot, an American air defence missile battery. It's supposed to be the most state-of-the-art thing the Americans have got. You can see this firing off 30 shells in under 2 minutes, trying to hit the missile that the Russians ended up blowing the bloody thing up. Each one of the missiles, I believe, is worth £1.5 million. So that's $40 million. This thing blew off in under 2 minutes. Then it got hit anyway with whatever weapon system. Some people are saying it was a Russian hypersonic missile. And I believe the actual battery itself, the various vehicles that make up the Patriot missile system, cost an awful lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars. So America's most cutting-edge air defence system, the Russians managed to whack, even after it fired 30 shells to try to stop the Russian missile coming in and hitting it. Why is that relative to Glasgow? If the Russians can take out an American air defence battery in the Ukraine, which is possible at the most defended airspace on the planet just now, they can do it to Faslane and Coolport, can't they? So there we go. It's all going down old dog television. Hope you enjoy this riveting episode of why I think the low emission zone in Glasgow is a crock of bull crap. Why Scottish people shouldn't actually be fanning the imperialist wars of aggression. And the last thing I'll say about the whole Ukraine thing, it needs to stop, doesn't it? You don't know what to believe, but my gut tells me there's hundreds of thousands of people who have already been killed. We're not going to beat the Russians in Europe. Sorry to burst anybody's bubble that thinks we are. They have better equipment, they have a better trained military, they've been preparing this for years, and their weapon systems are in a different league from anything we can produce. Alrighty, nice cheery one. Bit of a moan, bit of a rant, bit of a, I don't know, make your own mind up on that. But geopolitics and the low emission zone, where are you getting this type of content? Okay. Thanks all for watching. Take care. Bye bye.